the funny thing is, your next growth opportunity is already showing up in customer conversations.
Yes.
You just haven't systemized listening yet. I don't think there's enough seriousness put on the opportunity to get a competitive advantage.
Right. How many times have you heard people say, "Oh, I didn't know you offered that"?
Yeah, I didn't know you. That's right. Failure. If you're doing that, that is failure. Your customers tell you where the market is going before the reports do. Most small businesses don't lose because they're bad businesses. A lot of times they lose because they react too late.
I was waiting for that bad.
Yeah, alas, LG. Sometimes we got to do it ourselves.
At least not outdoors.
That's true.
Maybe indoors. Sauna, the steam room. Do all some of that.
This is the Grow Business Podcast.
I think now we're talking.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to talk now.
We're supposed to talk now. All right.
We're supposed to talk
open
now.
Open up the saunas and steam rooms. There you go.
Saunas and steam rooms, yeah. I can see you in one of those like Turkish
bathhouses
where they're beating the crap out of you with the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Smacking you.
Like the shafts.
Yeah, they're just beating you there.
Hmm?
And you're just walking around. You're one of those guys. You're one of those guys. One of those guys in the sauna just flinging it out
Free
there.
flowing?
Yeah. No, it's
no
like,
free willy for me.
Doing some calisthenics in there. There's some people out there into some stuff.
They're
doing push-ups
true.
and thinking they're gonna do the workout. I don't want to see all that in the sauna, dude. In the steam room.
Nope. I want to
wrap
my
your
towel
and sit. Yeah, that's
right,
what the towels
I put a
are
towel
for.
down, and then I put a wrap.
Okay.
And I sit.
Yeah, and shut up. Right? Yeah. Like,
correct.
I don't. Yeah.
Close my eyes because I don't want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Close my eyes. I don't want to see. Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. Well, folks, yes, you are in the right place.
Oh my goodness, yes.
We're despite that, we are talking about business.
Right.
That's a very resurgence. This bathhouse concept is really, there's a lot of dollars being put into those. Like in New York, major metros, New York. I've been to some great ones in Chicago and in New York.
Oh, wow, okay.
And there's a great one in a huge place in Northern Virginia called Ballion Springs.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's pretty interesting too. So it's big business.
Sure.
And you're just, you're paying to get in the pool.
Right.
Basically. Those cold plunges.
Right. Oh, there's cold plunges in there too. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, wow.
You go from that hot and then you go into that. Oh, my goodness.
Have you done that?
I have done it. And then I was in one that you're in the sauna and they have a plunge in the sauna.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like right there in a circle.
Okay.
And you kind of jump yourself into it.
Okay.
But you're in the steam room. You're in the steam room and in the middle is a cold plunge.
So you cold plunge and when you get out it's hot again.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, because you're in a steam room. So in the middle of the floor is cold water that you can just plunge into.
Okay.
That's crazy too. Yes, I've done that.
I would consider doing that because when you get out, you're not getting out to cold. You're getting out back into the warm.
Right. I mean,
moist.
It's a shock to you. I mean, I don't know what all this is supposed to do.
Right.
Whatever. But it's crazy.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Well, it's supposed to, I was listening to a podcast recently with a neurologist, neuroscientist who was talking about the vagus nerve and how that controls inflammation or influences inflammation. And this is going to be the extent of my depth of knowledge.
Okay.
The cold plunge stimulates the vagus nerve, which then has the capacity to reduce inflammation.
Okay.
Which reduces the risk of long-term disease.
Gotcha.
That's all I got.
Here's all I know. Everything will kill you.
That's correct.
That seems to be the general consensus.
That's correct.
Everything will kill you.
Right.
Oh, you know what? You should eat lots of broccoli. Next video, stop eating broccoli.
Because it'll kill you.
Right. Oh, you need to, chicken breasts is great lean protein. Next video, stop eating chicken breasts, it'll kill you. So I don't know. I'll continue on my journey to figure all this stuff out. But speaking of journeys, you are on a journey. You are in the right location. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Mosley. Joined by co-host LG007, Lon Graham is in the building.
Voice of reason.
It's good to be here, Corey.
And of course, not to be undone, he's off to a good start. Fingers crossed. Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
All right, if you're new to the podcast, 'cause we've got a lot. I love the fact that we have a lot of new listeners coming in. People are finding us. Maybe the algorithm is starting to do its thing, and all these other things are supposed to happen. So if this is your first time joining us, this is the place for small business owners. If you are a business owner, we have C-suite people too who influence business, or what we call have P&L responsibility. So they drive revenue opportunities inside their organization. This is the place, we put it in the name, to help you grow your business. We're sharing some ideas, strategies, some thought starters based upon our 5 pillars of business growth. LG, what are those?
Yes, Corey.
In the correct order.
Thank you for asking. They're mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people.
Yes, and we do that to make them familiar.
Yes.
Because familiarity creates an opportunity for you to be more open about how to identify, execute, and attack these areas. If you want to go deeper on that, my latest book, Position for Growth, just got a nice royalty check. I popped in the other day.
Oh, congratulations.
I said, I guess we sold some books.
There you go. Congratulations.
I said, we sold some books. Yeah. Yes. Available on Amazon.com. Also available in Kindle. So I encourage you to check that out. We just put 130 in the hands of some lovely field representatives at a company that I was speaking for. A little bummed. Because of all the weather, we didn't get to do it live. They had to change it from in-person to virtual.
Oh, man, that's a bummer.
But still got the opportunity to look at 140, 150 faces on Zoom.
Awesome.
And deliver that content. But we're going to get them positioned for growth. I encourage you to go over to CoreyMoses.com, learn more about that. Also, LonGraham.com. If you're looking for a leadership speaker, sales leader, tell us about that a little bit before we jump in.
Well, yeah, Corey, thank you for bringing that up. When I talk about leading to win in sales, I talk to sales leaders about leading to win. You know, the challenge is if you look at Gartner's data, less than half of sales teams make their number every year, which means more than half of sales teams don't.
Right.
And so I talk to sales leaders.
Simple math.
Yeah, really, that's exactly right.
Right.
And I talk to sales leaders about leading to win in sales, and I've got 3 principles for success. Like we have the 5 pillars. My 3 principles are, define success, develop people, and remove barriers. And within those 3 principles, you can lead your sales team to win, not just this year, but every year.
I like that. You were ready. I like that. Yeah, you've got some good. That boy got some good training. he was ready. Right? They say stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Exactly. Yeah, I love that right there.
That's right. I may have said that before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's like, let me know. Wind me up.
That's right.
You don't say opportunity for a plug. I'm ready.
That's right.
Well, folks, on today's episode, there's a lot of things happening right now as we're in the mix of 2026, as we're still in Q1 here. And a lot of this is about market share or capitalizing on trends. A lot of people, they're too late to the dance, right? All the good meat has been picked off the bone already. Right. And then the crows come in after everyone had the good eats, the crows coming after. You don't want to be a crow.
Correct.
You don't want to be in a crow situation. So on today's show, we are talking about 5 ways, or I should say 5 smart ways, business owners can capitalize on trends before their competition. I don't think there's enough seriousness put on the opportunity to get a competitive advantage. I think it gets dismissed.
Okay.
What do you just think about that? Just like off the top there.
Well, there's the 3 categories of early adopter, middle adopter, and late adopter. Yeah. And people that have been doing things for a certain way for a certain period of time tend to lean more towards middle adopters and late adopters.
Yeah.
And what happens is
let's see how it works out.
Let's see how my competition does. Right. Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. I think that there are opportunities, and what we're going to talk about today, I'm sure, is things to consider to get ahead so that you can capitalize on that before your competition.
Yeah. Because, when I hear people, I just run my race, Corey. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I don't know. Caring and knowing, I think, are two different things.
Agreed.
Knowing what's going on in your ecosystem doesn't necessarily mean you care to the extent of you're trying to do what they're doing.
Right.
But having awareness is, I think, pretty important, because at the end of the day, most small businesses don't lose because they're bad businesses. A lot of times they lose because they react too late.
Okay.
And I think that's what we want to get in here today to look at, maybe, spot some trends early, move faster, and really grab that market share while your competitors are still debating.
Right.
Right? We want to move while they're still going, you think we should do that?
Right. Well, and I think what we'll talk about today, and if we don't, we'll make sure we do, is trends internal and external. So what are we recognizing in the marketplace, and what are we recognizing internally that we could adjust as well?
Yeah, this is good, because you're leading in right to strategy one.
Okay.
And, one of the things for our show for the new people is Lon pretty much never knows what we're going to talk about.
And we stopped guessing a long time ago.
Yeah, he pretty much never knows, and he just has to roll with it. So I think it's a testament to your versatility in the game, because I have all the information. I know what's coming up. So it's a good, don't ever discount. I think it's important people to know that your extemporaneous ability to crank out these thoughts. So that's why you're the voice of reason over here. So
appreciate it.
So strategy one we want to talk about is this thing I want to call building a trend radar.
Okay.
Not a guessing game.
Okay.
So what I'm saying about that is, we don't have to rely, your gut can play a role, but we don't want to lead purely with our gut feelings about a situation. Because at the end of the day, trends show up in patterns.
Yes.
Right? Customer behavior, buying questions, complaints, and even expectations.
Yeah, and that pattern piece is so important, Corey, because the better you are at recognizing patterns, the more willing you're going to be to take to embrace some new opportunities and take chances. Isn't really the right word, but it's the word that comes to mind. Is when you notice something different is happening, look into it.
Right.
I mean, and the quicker you can recognize it, the more effective you're going to be at doing something about it.
So let's talk about that from a modern and practical standpoint.
Yeah,
so what we're talking about when we say this, right, in terms of how do you build your own trend radar. So as a great example, look at five customers, like track the same 5 customer questions every month.
Okay.
What are the customers asking for?
Okay.
Before something's even offered.
Yes.
Right? Is there a product or service you're not offering? And then look at monitoring, what are the top 10% of your customers doing differently? Because what this does is your customers tell you where the market is going before the reports do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And
because reports lag. You get data a lot of times after the month has closed, the quarter has closed. You reference Gartner and some of these other places that report data.
Right.
Those metrics are acquired and then reported on.
Right.
While the market could have moved on already.
Well, like there's a saying I have about data, right? In order to get it, you have to do something. So you can analyze data,
right?
But that like you're talking about, that's the rear view mirror,
right?
And what you want to do is stay engaged. Like you said, the top 10% of your clients, or your customers, stay engaged with them as to what are they like. What are things that they're looking for? What are some things that they're being led to?
Right.
What are things that they're noticing that you might be able to add to your business or change in your business to keep them doing business with you?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is your next growth opportunity is already showing up in customer conversations.
Yes.
You just haven't systemized listening yet. Right? For years, I've talked about VOC, the voice of the customer. A lot of people just haven't systemized how to get that pulse, how to get that trend. where people are telling you what they want to buy. And many times your customers are telling you what they want to buy by the things that they buy from someone else that's not you, that you could be providing.
Right.
What a great shame.
Right.
To find out a customer has purchased a product or service, something that you could have provided, something that made sense, but they went outside because they didn't know or you just weren't paying attention.
That bad.
Indeed.
That's definitely bad. I was reading, our mutual friend Stan Phelps, who speaks on marketing and talks about the concept of Lagniappe. I was reading an article that he wrote earlier last week or two, and he said your customers only know about 30% of what you offer. So it goes back to your point. They could be buying something from somebody else that you actually offer, and you're not telling them about it. So having a hand and being in those conversations with your best customers, understanding you may already offer something that they're looking for, and that's a trend that you could capture without having to change anything, but their understanding.
Right. How about that? I didn't even know.
Right. Right. How many times have you heard people say that? Oh, I didn't know you offered that.
Yeah, I didn't know you. Right. Failure. If you're doing that, that is failure.
Right.
All right. So number 2, test trends in small, fast experiments.
Okay.
Right? Don't go, change your tagline, your slogan, your color scheme, or change your website, or order 1,000 pieces of X, Y, and Z. Right before you know, maybe you have a winner there, right? So you don't need to fully commit to a trend.
Right.
But prototype it.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
Test it.
Think of it as a prototype. Now, what does that look like? Well, can you run a 30 to 60 day kind of trend sprint, right? To see if that's resonating. New offers, pricing, messaging, or delivery methods, right? Have short-term agreements.
Right.
I'll give anything 90 days.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And, this is where it becomes so important to know who your best customers are, because you can run it through them.
Right.
You can talk to them, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Would you buy it? And then you can say, okay, let's do an offer to incentivize them to buy it.
Right.
And see how it goes and get get some responses from them. And that's where those are the people that,
customers, not friends who will support you in anything, oh, that's a great, you're such a funny guy.
Right.
You should do comedy. And then you're dead on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, your cookies taste so good. You should go open a 1,500 square foot facility and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and sell these cookies.
In a commercial kitchen.
Right. Correct.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So you're right. It's talk to the people who are already buying from you and who are good, credible customers for sure.
And, I think there's an argument to be made here, whether you agree or not, but speed many times beats perfection. So like the market in a lot of instances will reward businesses that learn faster.
Oh, yes.
Right. So a lot of, I want to get it right. We want to hold till we can get it right.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't do that in software anymore, right? That I for years, I've talked about the power of words. There's been the adage of it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay, great. That's cool. I want to put that aside. But the sheer power of words has a completely, can really control our meaning.
Yes.
Right? The word beta was created so you can do something with no responsibility for the results. Right? If it crashes, if it breaks. Well, no, we told you it was beta.
Right. Beta test, beta launch, beta run.
Correct.
Yeah.
It gives you free range to make a mess.
Correct.
Because it's just a beta.
Well, I'm telling you, this is likely going to be a mess, so don't be mad when it is.
Correct. That's correct. Correct. So you can't complain it's beta.
So
we lost all your data. It was a beta.
We lost your data in beta.
Yeah, we lost your data in beta. So test, to your point, test with a small group before rolling it out system-wide, right? I'm in the franchise world now. We don't roll out a new flavor to all of our franchise locations until we've had success and tested it with our customer base at 1 or 2 locations.
Right.
It just, and you get your feedback and your tinker and your change. And, the funny part is, I understand this may sound so simple.
Right.
But I have to tell you, there's so many businesses or business owners that will go all in on something, find out it's a dud.
Right.
Because they, because
it's a great idea.
Right. Because they thought it was a great idea.
Well, and I think too, you do want to test it like you're talking about with the stores with Pecan Jacks, testing a new brand, a new flavor, or testing a new ice cream, and you want to do it in certainly in specific markets, and make sure that people are going to buy it from you. The reality of it, though, is that you can use it, and knowing you probably do. You can use it as create a VIP experience. Hey, we're trying some things. We want you as a VIP customer to be a part of the very first ones that come out, because we want you to have influence on what we're doing.
Well, I can tell you one thing in the ice cream and candy business: there's no shortage of people who volunteer to be tasters.
Oh, heck.
Yes.
I believe that.
Yes. A old buddy of mine, now business partner, always talking about send me some samples.
Right.
I said, stop being cheap, dude. and place an order.
Right.
So ridiculous. Send me some samples so you can do what?
Right.
You're not even an influencer. Nobody know you, man.
So you can ask for more samples.
Well, you don't have any followers. I'll put this out to my 1 million followers. You don't have any followers.
Right.
Like really sell me an idea here.
Right.
Ultimately the businesses winning market share aren't making bigger bets. They're making faster ones.
Yeah. Well,
this might be a guy I want to work with.
Yes.
And you talk about, it's easier to go faster on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Because you can test it. If it works, you can add to it. And if it doesn't work, you can just pull it back and go in a different direction, or try a different flavor, or try a different product.
Yep. All right. Strategy 3.
All right.
We're really efficient today.
We are working. Yeah.
Package trends into simple offers.
Okay.
Right? So at the end of the day, a trend doesn't necessarily create growth. The offer does.
Okay.
Right? So you can build a lot of buzz around something.
Right.
But if there's nothing to convert it,
right.
People went, Chili's has made a resurgence in the marketplace because they went viral for their mozzarella. That now there's things that pull apart there.
Yeah.
So can you imagine going viral with the pull apart trend and people showing up at Chili's and you don't have any mozzarella sticks?
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Right. I mean,
so you've got, that conversion has to be there.
I was waiting for that bad.
Yeah, alas, LG. Sometimes we got to do it ourselves.
You're right, though. The trend, to capture the trend, you have to have something to offer that's aligned with it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So how do you do this?
Okay.
Well, we want to turn trends into named, clear, and defined solutions.
Okay.
We want to reduce confusion by simplifying the buying decision. And finally, this is talked about, this is right in your wheelhouse, selling the outcome,
yes,
not the feature.
Yes.
Right? And why that may require a little bit of reprogramming is because since the dawn of time, we've been taught features and benefits.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So now and then over time, they've tried to make sure we reverse it.
Right.
Make sure you're selling the benefit.
Right.
And not the feature.
Right.
But now it's about the outcome.
Right.
Right.
And so, yes. And if you, and two things. One, you talk about clarity. Use language that resonates with your current customers. Use language that they're familiar with, that's in line with your business. The second thing is we talk about selling the benefits, selling outcomes. Sell the feeling that outcome is going to deliver. So this is what it's going to do for you. This is how it's going to make you feel. And that is an underappreciated piece when we're talking about sales is sales is a people first business. That's what we're talking about.
100%.
Outcomes. It's, we're talking about benefits. We're talking about outcomes. and people have feelings, and that's where it gets complicated. So if you can sell how they're going to feel about embracing this new trend that they're unfamiliar with, then they're going to be more inclined to buy it from you because you're making them feel good.
Right.
Voice of reason.
Yes. Well deserved. And so the other underlying point there for consideration is instead of simply creating a new service,
right,
what you really want to look at creatively is to create a growth reset, a customer experience upgrade, a modernization sprint.
Correct.
Right? You want a concept attached to that.
Yes.
If customers don't instantly understand how a trend helps them,
right,
it won't convert.
Right.
No matter how exciting that it is.
Right. No matter how pretty it is, no matter how good
Correct.
it looks, no matter how excited you are about it.
Right.
What you being excited about it gives you the juice to turn it into something for them.
Right. That might excitement creates excitement. That might get them excited. That doesn't mean they convert.
Correct.
They could excitedly give you a no still.
Right. That's okay.
We're really excited about this, but nah.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. I mean, let me know how it goes.
Exactly.
Let me know how it goes.
Get back to me when you find out. Right? When you get back to me when you get the report.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. All right, number 4.
All right.
Market the shift, not the shiny object. So the reality is that many times customers don't care about trends. They care about what's changing and how that affects them.
How that affects them, especially. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and
it's not like, ooh, a new trend. It's, maybe this solves a problem. This is a trend, but it solves a problem I didn't know I had.
Well, think about
cold plunging. Became a trend.
Yes.
Right? But now you get into the side. It's not just I'm cold plunging and cold plunge. It's my vagus nerve, my cortisol, my reset, my this, my that. Wim Hof, the old white guy who walks around with his shirt off in boxer shorts in Alaska.
Right.
Like, look at him. His blood so strong.
Strong like bull.
Yeah.
Right. And that's so true. Those sell, the way you communicate them and message it is, this is how it's going to make your life better. This is what it's going to do for you. This is how the cold plunge is painful. The benefit is it reduces inflammation, right? So this is what it's going to do for you to make it better. You have a new offer. You're asking, there's a little bit of resistance and hesitancy because when you make a new offer, you're asking somebody to do something a little bit different. And there's resistance there. So by giving them an understanding of what the change is going to be, which is what you're talking about, not the shiny object, but what it does for them, you're getting them past that resistance or that friction because they can see the other side.
Yes. All of that. And you don't church say amen. Say all of that. Right? Don't you just like you put in all that effort, get on a run, and then you're like, hard pause.
Like, whoops.
Whoops.
What's the one word you never want to say in an operating room?
What's that recruiting website that you go on to find people? What is it? What?
Hold on.
I forget what it's called. I have to look that up after.
All
right.
Well, when we get to 100 episodes, we can get them to sponsor us, right?
Okay. So, yeah. So let's talk about, let me follow up on this because we're talking about market the shift, not the shiny object. So, all right, what are some ways that we can do this?
Yes.
Well, explaining always helps.
Right.
So I think in a lot of ways, explaining why the market is shifting becomes tremendously valuable. Show what happens when they don't adapt.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So there's a little bit of that fear of loss model there, which works exceptionally well when executed properly. And then also, we're getting into Donald Miller territory. Position yourself as the guide.
Yes.
Not the experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. By being the guide, you're demonstrating to them that you know how to get them through this to get to the other side. By being the experiment, they're like, well, that sounds great. Tell me how it works out.
Correct. Exactly.
Right.
Change is easy.
Right.
You go first.
That's right. That's so good.
Right?
Right. That is so good.
And this strategy we're talking about, why it works and why it can be effective for you, is based upon the pure premise that people will move faster to avoid pain
Yes.
than to chase opportunity.
Yeah.
And I said this for years working with car dealers. I've got any car dealer's attention if they start losing $100,000 a month, and I'm going to give them a plan to get it back.
Right.
I got 50-50 on their attention if I'm trying to explain the $100,000 that they're missing that they could be getting that they've never seen before.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's a completely different shift in the thinking, because it goes back to the not buying the trend, but buying the clarity during this change.
Well, and I worked in surgical sales for so long, Corey, and talking about pain, right?
I thought about you the other day.
Oh, did you?
I was watching an episode of Chicago Med.
Oh, okay.
And they had to do some special thing.
Okay.
And they needed the rep had to be on the phone with the doctor somewhere else, giving instruction on how to remove this thing.
Sure.
So you see the annoyance of the doctor having to listen to the rep
100%
on the phone, barking orders about twist the screw 1/8 of a knot, and like the doctor, and surgeons, so you know what happens when we talk about surgeons and egos. And he's just so annoyed. I'm like, oh, that used to be LG right there, and they're observing and whatnot.
100%.
But I'm sorry, I hope I didn't make you forget your point.
And I've been on the other end of the phone with that
having
call.
The coaches too,
having the coach, okay, this is next and this is next. Point of it, though, is going back to the patient experience. You know, patients will live with shoulder pain until they can't sleep anymore, until the pain becomes
dog on the nail.
And the dog on the nail, the same thing. So when it hurts so bad that you can't sleep anymore, that's when they're going to go get it operated on.
Yeah.
So same concept, right? When you're losing something, when it hurts, that's going to motivate behavior in a very real and different way.
I like it. Nothing. I think by now, after there's like a conscious point being made, the expectation is there's going to be something afterwards, right?
Yay.
I want to make sure it's not me, because I know the two of y'all are like two peas in the pod and stuff. You talk about your little sports and
we
all your other stuff here, but I just want to declare there's an expectation, right?
Well,
after you make a good solid point, that we're going to get some love from the button guy.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Now he wants to overcompensate.
Right. And we let a point land.
He's overpronating.
Overpronating. There you go.
Like with your foot. Pronating. All right. Strategy 5.
Protruding.
Move before consensus shows up.
Yes.
This is important.
Yes.
By the time everyone agrees a trend matters, the advantage is gone.
Right.
I put that right into the camera. The advantage is gone. It's no competitive advantage. They teach this in business school, FMA, first mover's advantage. There's no first mover's advantage anymore.
Right.
Everybody's here at the party.
Right.
I did a keynote presentation for years entitled Best Practices Kill Sales Growth.
Oh, yes.
How not to be a victim.
Yeah.
And that the idea is if you're running around just looking for best practices, you're trying to figure out average.
Well, yeah, or the lowest common denominator.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
So, what do you need to do? Well, you've got to act where there's evidence, not necessarily certainty.
Okay.
Certainty is too late.
Right.
Evidence is the right time to start to ride the wave, right?
Yeah.
Also, be comfortable being early, not reckless.
Yeah.
See, people think the pendulum swings whether far left or far right when it comes to these things. So it's kind of like taking the definition of calculated risk. Right. So you can still be responsible in there, and also understand that leadership requires tolerance for discomfort.
Yeah. Well, tolerance for discomfort and risk and discomfort can run in parallel lanes, right? And so you want to find some balance. And okay, I'm willing to try something a little bit different, like we talked about in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Try it on a smaller scale. Try it one bullet at a time instead of a cannonball. Try it one bullet at a time. And if you're waiting for consensus, that means that everybody else has already adopted it.
That's it. Bingo. See, I do it myself.
Right.
I do it myself.
Right. So yeah, so have some calculated chances, some calculated discomfort. Say, I'm willing to try this at a level that you feel like you can withstand it not working.
Yeah, I like it.
Maybe this guy can help me.
Here we go.
I'm glad we're coming to the end. My annoyance meter. Market share is captured in the gap between early awareness and mass adoption.
Yes.
And I think it's important to realize that at the end of the day, consensus is also the enemy of market leadership.
Oh, they're vehemently opposed.
Yeah.
Like consensus and leadership are two completely different things.
Right.
I mean, they're on the, you're talking about polarity, right? On the opposite sides of the spectrum. You know, consensus means that everybody agrees. Leadership means you're taking people in a place that they're not necessarily comfortable going yet. Talking about being the guide, the Donna Miller story brand and the guide, right? Get
comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, here you go.
Right? That's it.
Exactly.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right.
That's where we got to go in. Like, you really got to come up with all these things.
Right.
So that you walk by faith, not by sight.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. What doesn't kill you hurts.
Yeah. Leap, grow your wings on the way down.
Oof. Yeah.
Dangerous.
That's right.
I think so. Sounds motivational, but story for another day, I suppose.
Exactly. Right.
The businesses that dominate their markets aren't just smarter, or isn't simply about being smarter. They're faster.
Right.
They're clearer. They're more willing to move early.
Yes.
Like the thing about trends is trends don't reward attention. They reward execution.
Yes.
Let the church say amen.
I jumped that route.
Okay.
So
I'm exhausted.
And this is where, you said a word in the middle of all of that that is worth bringing out.
Yeah.
And you use the word clarity. And this is where being clear on your ideal customer, being clear on what you want your business to accomplish, the direction that you're going. This is where that clarity is so important, because we're talking about trends, and not every trend is going to be for you. You can run it through the filter of that clarity.
Yeah.
And then if it gets to the other side and it aligns with what you're clear on, those are the things that you move on.
That's right.
Because you talk about shiny objects, right? Shiny objects get attention, but if you're not clear, they can distract you in the attraction.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the question I want to pose at the end as we get here is, which trend have you been watching instead of acting on? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want to leave it there. Before we wrap up today, though, we can't wrap up without thanking our sponsor, Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen. LG, I think you have something to say on that.
Yeah, thank you, Corey. Before we wrap, a quick thank you to our sponsor, Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen franchise, serving up smiles and strong returns with an average unit volume of $960,193.38. If you're ready to add a high-performing, family-friendly franchise to your business portfolio, visit pecanjacksfranchise.com and start your journey today.
All right. I like it. You.
That's right.
Uncle Sam wants you.
I'm talking to you.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Well, thank you for that. I think we're going to leave it here.
Sounds good.
We want you educated, activated, motivated.
Right.
All of hydrated.
Hydrated. All of those things.
We want you to be all of those things.
Right.
And we continue to thank you for your viewership. We're starting to grow on YouTube. We continue to be strong on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you're getting this. We ask you to certainly recommend this to other business owners. If you're an organization that serves business owners and you'd like to set up an RSS feed or stream, we do this with several organizations. We stream right into their learning management system, right into their back end, where all of their members can get it. We'd love to talk to you about that. You can send an email to hello@CoreyMosley.com
There you go.
and get you set up if you think this would be valuable to your team. All right, LG. I'll let you say your closing words.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend.
That's right. This has been another edition of the Grow Business Podcast. On behalf of myself, Lon Graham, LG007, and Willie H., we will see you next time.
Hydrated.
Hydrated. You know,
it's good.
Throw that in. Add that in there. Right?
It's good.
Yeah, you get going. You start rhyming.
That's exactly right.
I was trying to. There were some others that were coming that didn't make any sense. That ended in that kind of verbiage, but wouldn't be good things for anybody.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't
elevated. That's good.
Elevated,
activated, motivated, elevated, hydrated.
Yeah, hydrated's important.
Yeah. We'll make an acronym of it.
You're talking about, what were we talking about? Humidifier, right? You want to be hydrated, properly hydrated.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know where you're going with that, but
I don't either. Fluid, water, hydration, moisture. Going back, it all comes.